Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am doing a 3-week progress check on my calorie counting, my 30-day calorie counting challenge. I do want to say that, so the reason why I talked about first doing this 30-day challenge was because I was just really struggling on keto. And even when I was trying to just do low carb, I was struggling with that. There was just so many old habits I was going back to, and plus with the extreme amount of stress that I have been under over this last like 3 or 4 months with just things going on, you know, personally in our lives, and there's just a lot going on, and work has just been really insane. For some reason my body was just like rebelling while on keto. And that has not changed. I mean, if anything, it's just the same. Work is even busier than it was, you know, a month ago. And us getting used to my husband's new schedule. Like I said, it was supposed to only be 4 days a week, and now it's been 5 days a week with split days off. He's working graveyard. We're not seeing each other. You know, we thought it would be a lot different, and those things are not happening. And we're hoping it's just because they're shorthanded. So the stress level has not changed. So I wanted to put that out there before I started talking about this stuff, so people would understand that that part of my life has not changed. So the changes I'm seeing in my body and in everything is not due to the lack of stress in my life, because it's still there. So I wanted to put that out there before I start going through all of this stuff. So I think today is day 20. I wanted to do like a 14-day like check-in, but just didn't make it. So we're on day 20, so about 3 weeks in. And actually I'm kind of glad I did it when I did, because the first week, I have my notes here because you all know I can't remember anything. The first week that I was on it, I would say I think the first week I was up and down every day. So I was weighing every day, but it wasn't the same obsessively weighing every day. It was more just like, okay, I want to see how this is working, because I'm adding, you know, fruits in here, and I'm adding in some, you know, just some different things, you know, that I haven't had for a long time. And I kind of saw little tiny losses throughout that week, you know, just like 0.2, 0.1, 0.2, then I would go up 0.4, then down 0.5 and up, you know. And then the second week I started my period. So I was on my period the entire second week. And that was this week that I actually also added in, you know, more stuff. And on that week, I noticed I had more gains, and then I would lose little bits, and then I pretty much maintained. So the first 2 weeks, I pretty much maintained the weight that I was when I started the calorie counting. So yes, in my mind at first, I was thinking, okay, so maybe this isn't gonna make any difference. Maybe this is just gonna be, by the time my 30 days are done, you know, maybe I have to rethink and just figure out what I'm gonna do from here. And then I started the third week. And this is the week, surprisingly, that I really hit my calorie goals every single day, or almost every single day. Actually, it was more like the second half of the second week to this whole entire week up to this point. Like today's Friday, and it's early Friday, so I have not had much to eat today. So I would just say to yesterday, to Thursday was where we're talking. And I added in the English muffins. I had those breakfast sandwiches every single day this week since on Sunday, actually, and today I had one too. I added in, you know, a lot more fruit. I definitely had more carbs, and you'll know when I tell you kind of what my averages have been. It'll kind of tell you where I've been. But I've also been really hitting really close to my calorie goals every day. And this week, you guys, I got on the scale yesterday, and I got on the scale today. Yesterday and today were exactly the same in weight. I lost 4.4 pounds. So I think it's just my body had to get kind of used to doing something different, but also I really met all my goals, most of my goals this week. And another thing I started doing this week, which I'm gonna talk about here in a little bit, but I just wanna kind of talk about first, like how I'm feeling. I am feeling just so relaxed. Mentally, this was probably the best thing I could have done for myself, because I have stopped feeling guilty for eating certain foods. I would feel so much guilt for eating something that wasn't low carb, that wasn't keto. I just felt guilty. And that guilt would usually turn into me just saying, okay, I already did it. I feel bad about it. And now I'm just gonna go binge. And it was bringing back a lot of binging tendencies for me. I had in my mind, instead of saying, you know, this food has too many carbs, I can't eat it, in my mind it was, that's a bad food, and this is a good food, this is a bad food, this is a good food. That was always on my mind, even though necessarily it's not a bad food, it just was not a food that was suitable for keto or low carb. And for some reason, I could never make that shift in my mind. In my mind, it was always, this is bad, 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 which made me feel guilty for eating it. And I honestly never really thought about that before, because when I was on Weight Watchers, it was a little bit different with Weight Watchers because you had points for your food. And I don't know, I never really had the good food, bad food, you know, mentality with it. I'll get into what happened. I'll be talking about that next, you know, why that didn't work for me. But that's one thing with keto. I was always on this good food, bad food thing, and it just made me feel guilty for eating them. I would feel so much guilt. I would feel terrible afterwards. I could never enjoy, like if I, you know, me and my husband would be celebrating an anniversary or just celebrating a birthday or just celebrating each other and not, you know, having a long week, and we just, you know, go out to dinner or something. And I would feel so bad afterwards. For one thing, I would stress over what I was gonna order. I'd look over the menu, what am I gonna order, stress about it, and then feel guilty about what I ate. And then later on, I'd be like, well, you know what? Let's just go. And I would just end up binging. So it just seemed like it just really induced my old binging habits. And again, like I said, I never noticed that until I started doing this, you know, calorie counting, or just eating more like in a calorie deficit and not really thinking about what's a good food and a bad food. I would just think about, okay, I'm going to eat a portion of this. And that's the other thing. I think I always had it in my mind, you know, you look on the back of a package, or you look up, you know, what is like a serving size of, you know, chicken, or serving size of these vegetables, or serving size of fruit, you know, that kind of thing. And you would think, that's not going to be enough to fill me up. Yes, it is. Like that, I realize that, you know, it is. Now, I feel like a lot of people are going to say, well, that's just a pain to weigh and measure all your food. It hasn't been so far. And I do notice a lot of this research that I have been doing, I have noticed that people say that they do the calorie counting and the tracking and the weighing and the measuring, you know, either up until they get to their goal weight, and then they just don't do it while they're maintaining, unless they notice they start gaining a little bit, then they kind of go back to it. Some people can do it for 90 days, and then they realize, you know, they can just tell by sight, you know. I just don't know if I can trust myself to do that after, you know, I don't know. But for me, so far, it's not tedious, and it's not like an exact science anyway, because when we do go out to eat, I don't know, I have to estimate it. It's not that huge of a deal. And I also tend to make things into like meals and recipes in the tracker. So then I'm just tracking everything all at one time in one recipe, and then I just have a serving. And to me, that just has made it a lot easier than having to, you know, do everything. But I just keep my scale on my counter, and then when I'm making a salad, I just put the bowl on there, and then it's really not that big of a deal. For me, it has not been a huge deal. I would overdress my salads with dressing, and I'm not doing that now because I don't need that much. I mean, honestly, you guys, I would put way too much dressing in my salads, and I would even know, like, this is way too much. Now I'm, you know, weighing it out, and it's like, this is plenty. I mean, really, it is. And it was so eye-opening. It really has been really eye-opening. I've also been really paying attention to my protein. And as I always hear, protein makes you get fuller. Well, when I was on keto, I felt like I was never full on keto. I felt like I was always hungry, and I was eating the fats. And you guys know I was eating the healthy fats. It's not like I was over, you know, eating a ton of cheese and, you know, things like that. You guys know I like the avocado. You know, I did have some cheese, but I did not like, it wasn't like I was, you know, eating a bunch of things. The protein, I feel like I could never get enough protein on keto. Like, a lot of people say they always go over on protein on keto. Not me. I could never get enough protein on keto, and I could always go over on my fat. So I just was never full, like never full. And so now I'm noticing I'm getting a really good amount of protein, and I am full all the time. Like, and I'm not like stuffed. I'm just satisfied. I'm not snacking anymore, you guys. sometimes at the end of the night, what I've been having is sugar-free Jell-O. And honestly, it's not, it's like, it's more like a treat. It hasn't even been because I'm hungry, which probably isn't the best habit to do, but I mean, it's just a little, I want a treat at night, you know, sometimes. And it hasn't even been, I still have actually 2 things of Jell-O in there, and I had 1 for lunch yesterday. I had made 5 of them, and there's 2 of them in there, and 1 for lunch yesterday, not even as a treat. So I've only had 2 as a dessert this week since Sunday. So really, you know, it's not like I'm having it every single day. But I'm not even wanting to snack. Like, I'm satisfied with my breakfast. My breakfast has been great. I had 30 grams of protein in those breakfast sandwiches, plus had a little bit of fruit on the side. And that's another thing too. I'm having all my fruit. One thing I have read, which has been really interesting, and I'm hoping this video is not too long. One thing that I've read about eating fruits, that's one thing that they always say, okay, fruit has sugar, it'll spike your blood sugar. Well, I've been reading though that if you eat your fruit with your regular meals, just not alone, then it's not going to spike your blood sugar as much. I don't know if that's true or not. There's so much information out there, you guys, about everything. And I'm not a dietitian or nutritionist. And of course, all these people that I'm reading it from are dietitians and nutritionists. And you know, some say the same. Some think, you know, saying you're not going to get fat from eating fruit. Other people say just eat it with your meal, and it won't spike your blood sugar, even though they're natural sugars. So to me, that makes sense, and that's what I've been doing is, you know, not having fruit on its own. I've been having, like, if I have a banana, it's with my breakfast. If I have the watermelon, it's with my breakfast or my lunch. It's never alone. And maybe that has made the difference, you know, because I used to snack and just randomly snack and not think about what I was eating. And so maybe that was what was going on. Those issues were happening. So, you know, so those are some really big takeaways from this, is that I'm satisfied, I'm full, I'm not snacking, I'm not binging, I'm not thinking of food as good and bad, and I'm not feeling guilty about eating anymore. Those are huge, huge mental shifts in my brain that are happening, and it has been such a positive impact. And maybe those kind of changes in my mind has made my cortisol levels, maybe that's what's made them level out a little bit to kind of, you know, offset the stress that I'm having, because I feel good about what I'm doing and what I'm eating. And you guys see my food, you know, if I'm not doing my vlogs on YouTube, I'm posting them on Instagram or on my Facebook group. So you're seeing what I'm eating. I'm eating healthy, nutritious foods, and most of them have been lower carb, but you'll be surprised how many carbs I've been eating a day, because you'll probably look in those meals thinking, well, you're still eating low carb. Kind of, but kind of not. When I tell you this next, I'm not really. But first off, I just want to say a couple other things. One thing that I recognized when I was doing Weight Watchers, which I think was why I stopped losing on Weight Watchers, was because I was eating too little. One of the things I did towards the end of my Weight Watcher, you know, time that I was doing it, I did it for 4.5 years, almost 5 years. During that time that I did it, the last 6 months or so, when I noticed that my weight was just creeping up for no reason, I started tracking my calories. I was barely, if I was lucky, getting 1,000 calories a day, and usually it was around 800 to 1,000 calories a day. In your mind you think, well, then I should have been losing a ton, until I really started doing a lot of this research about calories and how many calories your body needs. When I was on keto and I would track it, sometimes there was times I was eating anywhere between like 1,800 to 2,100 to 2,200 calories, and I think I was eating too many calories. Like I said, I had no issue getting my fat in. I could never get my protein in, and protein is what's really lean as far as your calories are concerned. So I think that's also the difference, because one of the things that I've learned is that aiming for your calorie goals. So you have, you know, I don't know a lot of the science behind this stuff. I just been kind of learning, but you have your BMR, which is your metabolic rate. And it's, of course, unless you go get this expensive fancy test done to know exactly what your BMR is, this is all just calculations based on, I think it's your height, weight, age, and your gender. And it's just basic. I mean, there's other factors that go into it, like thyroid. I have hypothyroidism, so my metabolic rate is going to be lower, even though it's not going to show up on these numbers on here. People who have PCOS, I know that's another thing that can affect your metabolic rate. So technically my metabolic rate is 1,744 calories. That's just loosely based on the scientific equation of my height, weight, age, and gender. Does not take any health issues that I have in consideration for that. So I kind of look at that, with kind of a grain of salt. But then you also do your so what your BMR is, that's basically just the amount of calories your body needs to function, to make your organs run and function. Then you need to figure out your estimated daily caloric calories to maintain your current rate, and that's based on your BMR plus any physical activity and your body fat percentage. Again, that's kind of, you can estimate that, which I always do when I'm figuring those up. And I think those calories run, I think it tells me like mine is around like 2,000. So they say technically you should eat between your BMR and your TDEE is what they call that, to lose weight. You eat somewhere in between, and you can lose weight. However, I read a lot of stuff that eating below your BMR does not necessarily destroy your metabolism, which is something that a lot of people will say. Your body goes into starvation mode. I've been reading a ton of things that say that's not necessarily true. However, one thing that does make a lot of sense, they say if you do consistently eat at say 800 to like 1,200 calories, because they say that nobody should ever eat less than 1,200 calories as a woman, under like 1,500 calories for men. So if you're consistently eating 800 calories like I was doing when I was on Weight Watchers, then your BMR can lower, which in turn, if you in your mind though, you're counting your calories and say you're counting calories, but you're still hitting 800 for a few weeks, and then all of a sudden you say, okay, I need to get this under control, and you start eating 1,500, you're eating in a surplus of what your BMR is at this point. That's what they say. I mean, again, I don't know, unless you go and get these tests done, you're never going to know exactly. It's all going to be just a really loosely based equation based on the science of your age, gender, height, and weight. So it's really, I think, about figuring out what the sweet spot is for you, and that's what comes in to play when you're tracking. And so my first couple of weeks, I was doing it based on like 1,600 and something calories, which was like 500 calories less than what my TDEE was, and it was a little bit, less than my BMR. But like I said, I really think my BMR is a lot less because of my thyroid and any other, stuff that I have going on. And so I do think mine is a lot less. So I thought eating 1,689 calories was good. But then, like I said, I kind of maintained those couple of weeks. So then I lowered my calories down about midweek last week to 1,533 calories. And again, I just kind of did some more equations, on those calculators out there, and kind of came up with it. And I've lost weight this week, and I've still been satisfied. I'm not feeling hungry, not feeling like I need to binge. And then I've been running into the last point. I promise this is like towards the end here. One of the things that I have ran into is reading a lot about daily goals versus weekly goals, and then also about averaging your goals. So we have these daily goals. Here's what my daily goals are: 1,533 calories, 150 grams of protein, 150, 78 grams of carbs, and 69 grams of fat. Again, that's all based on the 1,533 calories. As you know, a certain amount of, there's X amount of calories in protein per gram of protein, X amount per, per carbs, that kind of thing. I think it's like, 4 calories per gram of carbs. So that's where all those numbers came out of, the 1,533 calories. That's how those came from. So I found a thing where it says average amount. That way, say you want to go out to dinner one night and you may eat more on this, so we're going out to dinner Saturday night, tomorrow night. So all this week I've been keeping track, I track in my tracker. And I've actually been putting them into a spreadsheet so I can see where I'm hitting each day and what my averages are. Because if I go out to dinner tomorrow night, I'm going to go out to dinner, I'm not going to stress. I'm just going to get, something that seems pretty healthy and nutritious. I'm not even going to worry about it. I'll have a tortilla maybe because I think we're going to Mexican. So I always get the same thing. And even when I was on keto, just because it was my favorite thing to have, it was not keto friendly. And I would feel bad about eating it. I don't feel bad about eating it now. I'm going to go in tomorrow and I'm not going to feel bad about it. and I think it'll be pretty easy to track, but it'll probably up my calories for the day. And so, because I don't believe in like not eating all day until you get to your one meal. I don't think that's also not good for your body and will tend to make you binge at the end of the day. So, but here's the thing. So tomorrow's calories, they may be like 2,000 and something tomorrow versus the 1,533. But guess what? I have been keeping track of all of my calories and all of my macros through the whole week on the spreadsheet. So my 4-day average, I started this on Monday. I wish I would have found this sooner, but I didn't find it until Monday. So on Monday, so for 4 days, I have been tracking my my averages. So I have a 4-day average on my protein of 113.8. I have a 4-day daily average of 105 carbs. So it's even higher than what my goal carbs have been. 57 grams of fat, and then 1,393 calories. So tomorrow when I go out to dinner and I have the 2,000, we have my full day, I'm not saying my dinner will be 2,000 calories, but my full day, maybe 2,000 and something calories, I'm already, a couple hundred calories lower average throughout the week. So it's really not going to throw me that much off. So hopefully that makes sense. That's how I am thinking, that why they say to do like a weekly average, because you have your highs and lows, and then that way it kind of balances out by the end of the week and you can kind of see what you've been eating. So I'm going to keep tracking on this spreadsheet that I found. If you guys are interested in the spreadsheet, let me know. I can throw it in my Google Drive and then you guys can download it from there. It's literally just a spreadsheet that you put your daily goals in there, and then every day you track your stuff, and it just tells you how you're eating throughout the week, or what your averages are throughout the week. And they say that it's just a nice tool to be able to see how you're averaging. And honestly, what is this telling me? Since I did so good this week so far, I mean, I'm at 105 grams of carbs each day. And I forgot the one more thing I want to tell you guys too. And I am losing. So I don't know. I feel like, it looks like I'm really eating, and which 105 I think is still low carb, considered low carb. I think they say under 150 grams a day. So I'm still low carb. My protein, I do wish it was up a little bit, but I'm still been full. So, I mean, I feel like it's, it's going okay. The last thing I want to tell you guys, and it could be a coincidence, but I don't know. My knee had not been healing very well at all. I was getting ready to, to go back to the doctor and just say, okay, I guess I need to go to physical therapy. I've been trying to hold off on it because I can't afford it. My insurance won't pay for it. I have to pay for it. Or because I have an HSA, I could take money out of my checks pre-tax and put it into my HSA, but I just did not want to do it right at this point. And so I was holding off. I've still been doing my bike. I've been putting the ice on it, taking ibuprofen, doing all the things. And it just was not, it was so painful, you guys. And going back to the office and everybody's like, why are you limping still, and everything. I'm not kidding. This last week, you guys, I barely noticed the pain, and it's not swollen anymore. I haven't taken ibuprofen in 3 days. It's a little bit sore. It's a little bit where I feel like I have to be kind of careful because it's still a little loose where I feel like it could give out on me. My calf muscles and stuff and my quad muscles all around it were a little bit sore and tight. They're not tight anymore. I wake up in the morning, it's still a little stiff, but not much. But that goes away a lot quicker. I limp just a tiny little bit, but like I said, it's mainly because I'm favoring it because I'm just afraid, I think. But why is that, you guys? Why is it that it's healing up right now? And I feel like it's just been progressively getting better in the last few weeks. And I don't know if I'm just getting more nutrients eating this way. Just a more balanced diet, and speaking of balance, I look at the percentages of I use the Lose It app in case anybody wonders, and I've been looking at the percentages on there. I am literally pretty much eating like 30-30-30 or 30-25-40, or it's just so balanced between the 3 macros. and it's just working really well for me, you guys. It really is. This may be a coincidence with my knee. Maybe it was just time for it to start healing, but I really feel like it's just such a balanced diet for me right now that it's really doing a lot of good for me. And I feel really good. I really do. Will I do this beyond the 30 days? I really think I will. I think I'm going to make it a summer thing. I think I'm going to do it all summer and just see how it goes. And just I'm just going to literally take it month by month. I'm going to finish these 30 days no matter what. I would have no matter what was going on with the 30 days. I wanted to finish it because they really say to really give it a good 30 days when you're doing this. But I'm just going to go, I'm just going to go with what my body feels like it's doing, and it's doing really good right now. And this is just how I'm going to, this is how I'm going to eat right now. And like I said, I think that the mental shift is, it is just priceless how I feel. I mean, honestly, like, I think that certain ways of eating is good for some people, and I'm not knocking anything. I've never knocked, Weight Watchers. I'm not knocking keto or any of that stuff. I think that it just depends on the person whatever they need to do for their own body and their own mind, especially. I think the mind and and how you feel is more important than what's going on with your body, because if you can't come to terms and be happy with what you're doing, then it's not going to be good for your body in the long term. Okay, I've had a fly dive bombing me I've had to refilm this last part 3 times. I think it's gone. I'm going to wrap this up with one last thing. I know I said this, one last thing. I am excited also about filming again, you guys. I am excited about doing recipes. I'm excited about showing you my food. I hope that is coming across now in my videos. I think before I just felt so ho-hum. I wasn't excited to be filming. I wasn't excited about what I was showing you guys. And I mean, if it was food related, if it was not food related, I'm all about that. But I feel really good now. I feel like more invigorated, and I'm just so excited to be bringing you the things that I'm bringing you. And I hope that no matter what you're following, no matter what kind of lifestyle you're on, what kind of food you eat, hopefully you can find something, some kind of, something in my videos, if anything, just to see how I'm doing. But I hope there's something in there that you can get from it, because that's important to me. I only want you to watch if it's something that you're interested in watching. And I'll definitely be checking in with you guys and letting you know how things are going. I'll do a final, end of the month. It'll be much shorter. I'll probably just put it actually in one of my daily videos, just to kind of okay, sum up my 30 days. And give you my final, okay, yes, this is what I'll be doing. But I'll definitely be checking in along the way. And as I learn more things about this calorie counting process and calorie deficit and all that, I'll definitely be giving you the little tidbits that I'm hearing there, here and there. But remember, there's a lot of information out there, and it's very overwhelming. So don't get lost down some of the rabbit holes that I've gotten lost down. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next video, and I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day as usual to watch my videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.